Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Kusuma studying in Shri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today I am here to explain you all about the OSI model and its layer. It includes physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and finally application layer. The open system interconnection model describes 7 layers that computer system uses to communicate over a network. It was first standard model for the network communications adopted by all the major computer and telecommunications companies in the early 1980s. The modern internet is not based on the OSI but on the simpler TCP or IP model. However, the OSI 7-layer model is still widely used as it helps to visualize and communicate how the network operates and helps to isolate and troubleshoot networking problems. OSI was introduced in 1983 by representatives of the major computer and telecom companies and was adopted by ISO as an international standard in 1984. The advantages of the OSI model includes determine the required hardware and software to build their network, understand and communicate the process followed by the components communicating across the network, perform troubleshooting by identifying which network layer is causing an issue and focusing efforts on that layer. Define which part of the network their products should work with. Communicate to users at which network layers their product operates. For example, only at the application layer or across the stack. 7 layer of the OSI model. First one is physical layer. The lowest layer of the OSI reference model is the physical layer. It is responsible for the actual physical connection between the devices. The physical layer contains information in the form of bits. It is responsible for the transmitting individual bits from one node to the next. When receiving the data, this layer will get the signal received and convert it into zeros and ones and send them to the data link layer, which will put the frame back together. Some of the key functions of the physical layer includes synchronizes the data bits, enables modulation, that is conversion of a signal from one form to the another for the data transmission. This is an example of the physical layer. It includes Ethernet hubs, Ethernet cables, token ring networks, and repeaters are the standard network devices that are functionally at the physical layer as our cable connectors. Second one is data link layer. The data link layer transmits the data between the two nodes that are directly connected or are the operating over the same network architecture. Typically, this layer takes the data packets from the layer 3 and breaks them down into frames before sending them to the destination. Layer 2 is divided into two sublayers, that is media access control and logical link control. The MAC layer encapsulates data frames transmitted through the network, connecting the media such as the wires or the cables. In situations where such data transmission fails, LLC helps to manage the packet transmission. The well-known data link layer protocol includes the address resolution protocol and translates IP addresses to the MAC addresses to establish communication between the system whose addresses vary in the bit length. Some of the key functions of the data link layer includes detects damaged or lost frames and retransmit them, performs framing where data received from the layer 3 is further subdivided into smaller units called frames. This is the example of the data link layer. Third layer is network layer. The network layer enables the communication between multiple networks. It receives the data segments from the layer above, further broken down into smaller packets at the sender side. On the receiver side, this layer resembles the data together. The network layer also handles routing functionality, wherein the data transmission is accomplished by choosing the best possible route or the path that connects different networks and ensures the efficient data transfer. This network layer uses Internet protocol for the data delivery. Some of the key functions of the network layer includes handles routing to recognize the suitable routes from the sender to the receiver, performs logical addressing that assigns unique names to each device operating over the network. This is an example of the network layer. Contains an IP address, formats the data into the packets to be delivered up to the transport layer. Fourth layer is the transport layer. The transport layer allows safe message transfer between the sender and the receiver. It divides the data received from the layer above into the smaller segment. It also resembles the data at the receiver side to allow the session layer to read it. Layer 4 performs two critical functions, that is flow control and the error control. Flow control implies regulating the data transfer speeds. It ensures that the communicating device with a good network connection does not send the data at a higher rates, which is difficult for the devices with slower connections to handle. Error control refers to the error checking functionality to ensure that completeness of the data. In incomplete data cases, this layer requests the system to resend the incomplete data. Some of the key functions includes ensures completeness of each message exchanged between the source and the destination, maintains proper data transmission through flow control and the error control. This is the example of the transport layer. Fifth one is session layer. The session layer establishes a communication session between communicating entities. The session is maintained at a sufficient time interval to ensure efficient data transmission and avoid wasting computing resources. This OSI layer is also responsible for data synchronization to maintain smooth data flow. This implies that in the situation where large volumes of the data are sent at once, layer 5 can break down the data into smaller chunks by adding checkpoints. For example, let's say you want to send a 500-page document to the another person. So in this case, this layer can add checkpoints at 50 or 100 pages. This is in the case a document transfer is interrupted due to network or system failure. Some of the key functions include opens, maintains and closes communication sessions, enables the data synchronization by adding checkpoints to the data streams. This is the example of the session layer. Sixth one is presentation layer. The presentation layer is often referred to as a syntax or translation layer as it translates the application data into a network format. This layer also encrypts and decrypts the data before transmitting it over the network. For instance, layer 6 encrypts the data from the application and decrypts it at the recipient's end, ensuring the source data transmission. Moreover, this layer is known to compress the data received from the layer 7 to reduce the overall size of the data transferred. In summary, layer 6 ensures that the communicated information is in the desired format as required by the receiving application. Key functions include performs the data translation based on the application's data semantics, encrypts and decrypts sensitive data transferred over communication channels. Seventh one is application layer. The application layer is the topmost layer in the OSI model. The layer establishes communication between the application on the network and the end user using it by defining the protocols for successful user interaction. An excellent example of this layer is that the web browsers. Application layer protocols allow the software to direct flow and present it to the user. Some of the known protocols include Hypertext Transfer Protocol, that is HTTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is SMTP, and File Transfer Protocol, that is FIP. Key functions include the application layer provides user interfaces UI that are key to the user interaction, supports a variety of the applications such as email and remove file transfer. This is the example of the application layer. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel.